Winds pushed across the Mediterranean just 2 days after the global Sumud flotilla was intercepted. Another convoy, this time under the banner of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition and the 1,000 Madlenes to Gaza, was already sailing towards Gaza. If the October 6 interception was meant to send a message, it didn't work. The Freedom Flotilla clearly didn't get the memo. This is the story of a mission that tried to break through, not just waves, but global attention spans. Before we dive deeper, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive from Naval Brief. On October 8th, 2025, 9 vessels carrying 145 activists, medical teams, and journalists tried again to breach Israel's maritime blockade of Gaza. They carried more than $110,000 worth of medical supplies, food, and respiratory equipment. Organizers called it a purely humanitarian mission. Israel called it a deliberate provocation. This second flotilla wasn't sailing in silence. They made sure the world was watching in real time. Live streams from the vessels showed calm seas and a sense of defiance. Activists waved banners. Journalists narrated the mission live. But about 120 nautical miles off Gaza, everything changed. Israeli naval ships moved in fast, supported by drones and electronic jamming systems. Organizers say communications suddenly went dark. Within minutes, armed boarding teams surrounded the boats, engines were cut, and Freedom Flotilla and 1,000 Madlenes to Gaza vessels were seized in international waters. 145 people were detained. Among them, Australian activist Madeline Habib, captain of the Conscience, one of the flotilla's lead vessels. Israel confirmed the interception. Its foreign ministry called the mission futile and claimed the blockade was legal and necessary to prevent arms smuggling. All detainees were brought to port for processing. Activists called it something else, an illegal hijacking in international waters. Some footage from early in the approach made it out. Enough to confirm the convoy was intercepted far from Gaza's 12 nautical mile limit. This wasn't a one-off action. It followed a pattern that's been building for months. October 1st to 3rd, the global Sumud flotilla was intercepted with more than 450 activists deported. Earlier in 2025, the Handala and Madeleine missions were also stopped. Both boarded long before reaching Gazan waters. Dozens of boats have been intercepted this year alone, part of what organizers describe as a non-stop push to break the blockade. Each mission has ended the same way. Drones overhead, comms down, boarding far offshore. It's practically a script at this point, and everyone knows their lines. But this time, pressure is different. The October 8th interception came amid growing international scrutiny over Israel's blockade of Gaza during a prolonged humanitarian crisis. European lawmakers, Turkish officials, and several NGOs have condemned the operation. Lawyers from Spain, Norway, and Ireland are preparing to challenge the legality of these seizures. The legal question isn't new, but it's getting louder. Israel argues that its blockade is legal under the laws of armed conflict and that intercepting vessels attempting to breach it is a legitimate security measure. It claims the flotilla missions are symbolic provocations designed to undermine Israeli security. But activists and many legal experts counter that boarding humanitarian aid ships in international waters violates international maritime law. They emphasize that no weapons have ever been found aboard these flotillas, just aid, journalists, and political pressure. What's at stake is more than one shipment of medical supplies. It's the right to challenge a blockade that's been in place since 2007. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition was prepared for this moment. Its organizers have faced similar interceptions before, most famously the Mavi Marmara raid in 2010, where 10 people were killed. Since then, their strategy has shifted to keep the spotlight on legality and global perception rather than direct confrontation. This time, they broadcast as far as they could. They recorded departure statements. They documented cargo manifests. They shared coordinates in real time until the blackout began. Even after the ships went silent, the narrative didn't. Within hours, media outlets across Europe and the Middle East picked up the story. Protests erupted outside Israeli embassies in Spain, Turkey, and Ireland. Several governments demanded the release of their citizens. Madeline Habib, the captain of the Conscience, refused to sign a waiver agreeing to deportation. She is now held at Ketziat prison, according to her lawyers. Others were released under the condition that they accept deportation and ban orders. This latest interception also drew renewed attention from humanitarian groups. Doctors Without Borders condemned the action, calling it a violation of humanitarian principles. Human Rights Watch described it as a deliberate effort to block medical aid. The timing is critical. Gaza's medical system remains shattered. Hospitals are running out of critical supplies. Civilian casualties are rising. Every ship, no matter how small, has become a symbolic lifeline. And that's why the flotillas keep coming. Whether they reach Gaza or not, their impact is strategic, to push the blockade into the global spotlight, forcing governments to react. For Israel, though, the calculus is different. Allowing even one vessel to break through could be seen as a crack in a blockade. That's why every single ship, no matter how small, has been intercepted long before reaching Gaza's shores. Military analysts say the October 8th interception shows how tightly Israel controls maritime approaches to Gaza, and they're always watching. The flotilla gave the world full access to their journey, and Israel used that to their advantage too. The flotilla never came within 100 nautical miles of the coast before being stopped. This kind of early interception signals two things. Israel's detection capabilities remain unmatched in the region. And the blockade isn't just holding, it's actively enforced beyond the immediate perimeter. The Freedom Flotilla's mission may have ended in detention, but its story isn't over. Legal teams are preparing to challenge the boarding. Activists are planning another mission before the end of the year. Politicians in several countries have already called for hearings on the legality of the blockade. Even Israel's allies are watching closely. For Washington and European capitals, these flotilla incidents have become diplomatic flashpoints, small sparks in a volatile sea. The activists who were detained say they'll try again. Israel says it will stop them again. Everyone knows their lines by now. It's less of a surprise and more of a grim maritime routine. And somewhere, probably at this very moment, another flotilla is being planned over lukewarm coffee and a satellite map. And so, the maritime standoff continues, not with missiles or fleets, but with ships carrying aid, activists, and a political message powerful enough to travel the world. This is the story of the Freedom Flotilla of October 8th, 2025, a mission that never reached Gaza, but forced the world to look its way. If this flotilla ends the same way, the headlines won't just be about blocked ships. They'll be about a strategy that clearly isn't going away, no matter how many boats are stopped. And that's the part that makes this round different. The world's not just watching, it's waiting. For both sides, what happens next isn't just about ships on the water. It's about who controls the narrative that follows. Thanks for watching this Naval Brief. This is Naval Brief, your briefing room for sea power and defense analysis. If you're all hands on deck for real naval operations, maritime conflict, and global defense, subscribe and stay mission ready for the next briefing.